Welcome back to Rebuilding Astroworld. This is Swag, and today we are going to do a tutorial on how to build double wide stairs. These are really not too complicated to do. You just got to know how to cover them up properly and put the pathing in place so that gentleman like, what's his name? Dylan N can walk up and down those stairs and look like a cool dude. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to move the wagon wheel ride again and sort of build out this area. I kind of want an elevated side to the western junction on this side and kind of have the main path go through here with some stairs that help people go up to a bigger area. Maybe the wagon wheel goes over here, who knows? Hopefully you guys enjoy this episode. It is a tutorial, so there's going to be a long section where you guys can just follow along while I build it and do it yourselves in your own builds. Hopefully you guys find it useful. Thanks for watching. I read a comment on my last video that you haven't seen a tutorial on how to do the double wide stairs. So I'm going to do triple wide and double wide stairs right here using basically a live presentation of doing a double wide stair tutorial. So yeah, I mean, let's go through this live. So the first thing you're going to need is what you're going to make the stairs out of, which is track. It's going to be single rail or it's going to be mini golf, but for this episode I'm going to be using the single rail because that's what I'm using for the western area. So for example, if we go over here and we put the track on ground level and you stack it, it gives the aesthetic of possible stairs. I know it's hard to see, but like the more you stack next to each other, it looks like stairs. In this context right here, it looks better, but you can see it's, you know, it looks exactly like it. What you're really doing is actually lowering the ground where the stairs are actually going to be and using the trick of having only specific sight lines or perspective so you can't tell that the track's below the actual line. So in this instance, we are going to build our fake path first, or our proxy path, what some people call it. And in the proxy path area, you're going to have your flat, your stairs, and your flat. And that's really all you need. But that is theoretically where the peeps are going to be walking. In this circumstance, we will have the peeps walking through this area, and we're going all the way over here. This is where the next few steps are going to be. And let me delete this track so that you can see this is going to be a 3-wide path. And wherever you're going to have your stairs, your simulated stairs, you're going to want to put a proxy path on top of it. And I'm just going to do the 2-wide first, and then we'll move over here and do the 3-wide. It's the same idea, just wider. And that's where you're going to want the track to go. So actually, we're going to do it just a little bit further over, because in this circumstance, these green boxes are going to be planters, sort of like this. So the stairs are actually going to go further in. So like theoretically, this is going to be how far in the pathing is going to go. Now, we're going to invisibilize. What do we call this? Just make these pieces invisible. We're not deleting them, we're just making them invisible. And that's your stairs. So remember, the stairs are going to be, let's just say, here on the red, and we'll put red to show off. And then we've got both of our flat sides. Did I just delete the surface? Oops. Oops. Okay. So what I like to do is I like to lower the ground, and we're gonna have to lower the ground in this 3x4 area. So we've got it lowered, and I believe typically you're gonna need to lower the further back piece one more layer. So let's just color that yellow. And you're gonna need to do the same thing in the opposite direction. Lower that 2 blocks down. And then let's just say this is the mid tier. Remember, the edges are gonna be covered up by planters. We're just putting the path or the stairs in that area. So I'm going to just copy and paste this piece right here. We're gonna paste it on there, and we're gonna do it so we totally block out this block to the yellow block. So copy and paste, boom. Copy and paste, boom. Now I can't see the rest of the red block. And then I'm going to copy and paste that same piece further back and lower it to the ground level. And you can kind of see how they overlap each other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to raise this one more, and I'm going to do 3, the height of 3 on the red block. So 3 red block, and then this is 1 above the block behind it. Now, if you do this without putting the placeholder paths first, you're going to be like, well, what perspective am I even blocking? So I'm going to copy and paste my ground level pathing over where I'm going to actually have path, which is over these yellow blocks on the bottom at ground level. So you can see I'm pasting ground level pathing, complete tiles to cover up the entire tile. And when I turn the camera around, you can see these red pieces. See, this is the bottom red piece. It lines up with the edge of these bottom tiles. So we're going to now simulate the walls. And I use this gray colored wall. We're going to simulate the planter boxes. So the planter boxes are going to be right here. And then we're going to have our stairs, so we're going to make the incline. And this is going to be a really good placeholder to show that the stairs are going up for our perspective. And then we're going to put the same piece up here where we're eventually going to have the top of the stairs. So you'll see right here that the stair needs to go further, because from this perspective we can see under this plant box. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy and paste that track piece. I'm going to copy and raise one more. And now that stair lines up with this wall, and we'll look at it the other side. Same deal, copy and paste. 1, 2, 3. And just for right now, we're going to block this support with a clock. If you don't know how the clock thing works, you just paste a clock and then you lower it beneath the tile. See the scenery clock, you lower it so you can't see it. So boom, you got the start of your stairs. There's 3 steps. Now, the top of the stairs also need to have a path tile. In this circumstance, we need to raise it up 1, 2 to line up with the rest of the path. So boom, boom. And we're going to copy. Oops. We're going to copy and we're going to paste. So now we need to fill the rest of this gap with more track, or we're going to have that gap. And remember, we lowered the tile to 2 tiles down behind it, technically 3 tiles below the back. We're going to copy and paste. And we'll just do this perspective first. And we'll copy and raise, copy and raise. And this gets you almost where you're at, but I see that little bit of dirt in the background, so I'm going to copy and paste one more. And you get more of like a clean line right there. So same deal over here, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. And we're going to use the clock piece. And that is not even visible from where you block it. So now we're looking at it from this perspective. We probably need to do the same thing all the way across the board. Copy, paste, and then raise, 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 raise. Let's get rid of those supports with the clock piece. Boom. So from this perspective, perfect. You got your stairs, and you got your stairs. So that's great. But we have to look at it from the behind the scenes angle, and that doesn't look too hot. So we're going to copy and paste the track piece so that it now covers up the bottom. So in this circumstance, I believe we're only using 2, and we're copying and pasting, and boom. Let's go ahead, cover up the support. Now, you can kind of see there's only 2 stairs from this perspective, and from this perspective it's like 2 big stairs. You can't really tell, and that's why I like having foliage in place or just like trees in a building. You won't be able to see it. It's honestly not that bad, period. Like if I had this wide open, I see that as a slant. Like you see the context of this wall. This looks like just a downward staircase. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to copy and paste this piece below, that piece below, and we're going to raise it up 1, we're going to raise it up 1. We're going to, of course, use the clock to block the supports. So from all 4 angles, you basically have your double wide stairs without having the line between it. The real reason these double wide stairs are good for realistic parks is because in real life, they do have wider stairs than single units. So when you're building and looking at, a staircase like this, there's always that little gap, and it just doesn't look good. Yes, in real life, sometimes these staircases do have railings in the middle, so let's use a different path for context. The wooden pathway with the tarmac, because this one actually connects. There's no gap, technically. So you have like the wooden piece right here, and then there's railings. That looks fine, but if you really wanted to put railings in the middle, you could always use, let's just say, a fence piece. And you put it right there in the middle. And boom, you've got, your middle rails, your safety rails, whatever you want to call it. But I would say these are gentle sloped stairs. They're not as steep as stairs that typically need railing. So, yeah, you don't really need it. Okay. Now, we are going to add the planter box that goes around so that we can cover up these alternative views of the stairs. So this is the fake box, and you'll see over here I did a similar thing, and let's just say I have to use this. I have to paste it, and I've got to make the wall go upwards. So it's something like that. So it's like a cement wall that's covered up, and you can't see underneath the stairs. I haven't built the stairs over here yet, but it's what I did over here, and I used a building to cover it up. But you'll see these planters are going to be very similar right here. I'm going to have plants and stuff and foliage in this little area. I might even have the wall be closer to this stuff, but for now I'm going to use the same wall pieces, and I'm doing kind of layered walls. So the first is like the dark gray, and then I'm going to be putting this corrugated steel looking stuff inside the walls. Just want to give it a little bit more texture. And I'm going to copy and paste, and then spin it around, make it right side up. And then it's hard to get the ground from where we're at. Let's see if I paste it in the right spot. Yeah, that works. So copy, paste, spin around, right side up. Okay. So that is the future planter boxes. And then I used wooden fence posts, just like these, on the inside tile. Oops, double clicked. I'm going to raise it. And you're going to get the aesthetic that I have in this area. I'm just going to go ahead and use the tile inspector to copy, paste, raise. Oops, copy that. Oh, whoops. Copied and raised a piece of track. Didn't mean to do that. Copy, paste, and spin. Left side raise. Copy, paste, spin. Flip. And copy, paste, raise. So it's already started to cover up the pieces. You can see, obviously, there's track down there. So what you do, you got to make sure you're not going too low. So if I just click it right there, boom, you got plants covering up the stairs. You want to make sure it's at the right level. You might be able to go down one, not with this thing, but boom. Now I have a bush there, and we want to check it from all angles. You can kind of see it right there. That is almost negligible in my mind. So I'm going to leave it as is there. And we're going to switch it up. We're going to add, I don't know, this tree back here. You can get it at the same. I'm going to raise it just one. And you're like, okay, there's still a gap. So what can we do? We can add, I don't know, let's do this planter. And boom, that's starting to look nice. We got a little gap right there. So I can use this bush, lower it, or keep it in that height. And boom, from this angle, I no longer see the track underneath. This angle you still do, so we're going to either make the walls. You still see that right there, so we're going to go ahead and use another bush. Copy on the wall size, just overlapping that tree. That's good. It's covering up the angle pretty well. Might want to add some color. So let's just say we're using purple flowers in the other areas. You can add some purple flowers in there. Just add a little bit of color. There's a lot of brown. You see a lot of brown right here, but obviously when you make more buildings, it takes away from the brown. Okay. And that's why foliage is so important. It's going to counteract that brown. Okay, let's do the other side. Kind of like this tree. What if I go with like a... let's try this tree. Is that too low if I do this? I'm not seeing the base of it, so that looks pretty good. You still kind of see the gapping, so you can use, in this circumstance, let's use some orange flowers. Because we have a little bit of... Oops, I think I'm going to place that somewhere. We've got, like, this tree. We got a little orange flower. You got a little purple flower over there. There's red over here. Honestly, I think we could get away with doing some purple right there. Yeah, that looks pretty good. This angle, you can see the track, so what do we want to do? We want to get rid of that. Now let's just do some green. Looks good. And you can't see it from the other angle. You can, just barely. Negligible, I would say. You can make it really clean and get rid of that by raising it, by adding a bush. So let's say we don't want that. We want a bush. You make it match the height. That's pretty good. You can barely see it, but if you don't like that, just raise it. And since there's so many walls and stuff, you can't really see. Oh, well, you know what? We gotta have to lower that. And then up top, let's get some color differentiation. Can we do a palm tree? Is this gonna be too tall? So how far can we lower it before we start to see it? We can't go any lower. So there's your palm tree, and for this we're going to use, I like using these fruit trees. Oh, but I can't use the fruit trees because of the base. Well, in that circumstance, we got to use some bushes. Use that. Maybe do a third one right there, and then in the back corner use just a typical bush. We were kind of missing out on some color. Oh, didn't want to delete that one. Let's go ahead and use the flowers. Boom, just a little bit of color. It's not too bad. There you have it. You've got double wide stairs. And I think it looks pretty good. Oh, you know what? Let's cover up this side. So let's say I'm going to do an elevated wall just like I did right here. We're going to have to either use track or use wall to elevate this area. And I believe I'm going to have it end up like this, but I will be using a different method than using the track in the middle of the pieces. So for now, we're going to delete this piece. We're going to go ahead and use, I believe since the update, we can use this wall piece and right side it up and dunk it below the water. I mean the land tile. It's the same thing over here. Just lower it. Now that's kind of sticking out under the land tile, I believe. Is there any way to hide it? There we go. So it looks like a really cool raised planter box, and we got the same idea over here. So looks good. Now I'm going to do a very quick time lapse of the 3 wide stairs. It's the same technique, but I haven't done 3 wide before, so if I find something that's different that I need to go over and redo, I will let you all know, and we'll find out together. I know this was an atypical episode for rebuilding Astroworld, but hopefully it gives you a little bit more of a look into the little details that you honestly don't think about too much in a park, like pathing and stairs. And overall, I'm liking what we've got. The view I'm not too big of a fan of is this view, but I feel like once I add some buildings up here, maybe rides, it'll balance the area a little bit more. This view's good, this view's solid, and this view's fantastic. I'm thinking of maybe a water feature, doing something with motion in here that could draw some attention. And I think the only thing I'm not extremely pleased about is how big these 2x2 planters look. Who knows, maybe I'll come back to these in the future. And then of course another thing that's going to be tough is pathfinding. I really want to get the pathfinding to be pretty easy for these folks, and where this is sort of just a straight line over and across, this is going to have to be like a straight line up, maybe down and across, and of course down to here, and I have to put something here, and I have to put something here for peeps to need to go to, or they're just going to get lost in a loop around here. So overall, super cool. This is going to be a long episode because you just watched me do a tutorial of how to build these stairs, so I appreciate you guys watching. Please like, comment, and share, and I'll see you next time on Rebuilding Astroworld.